Alright, welcome to Miss Semple's Daydream tutorial for the Daydream assignment. For this assignment you will be creating an image of yourself daydreaming by doodling and adapting images in Photoshop. So what you just saw is me cropping a photo. This is a little sped up so it looks a little impressive, but again I am just experimenting. So right now I'm picking a color using my paintbrush tool and adjusting the size of my brush and the hardness and whatever brush size I want to start my doodle. So I have a nice white background for mine, so I can draw on it, which is really great. So if you're planning on taking your own photo, I would use one with a nice plain background, or you can crop yourself out of a background and put yourself into a white background or a black background. So right now I'm just drawing and trying to figure out what to do with my daydream. I started out drawing a flower and I thought, it's not great. I kind of want to start and do something else. You can tell I'm kind of adjusting and thinking about it, which is all part of the process and developing your project. And that's the best thing about Photoshop, is that you can adjust and erase, and that only took me about 30 seconds, so it's not a big deal. So right here again, you're going to see me make some mistakes and try some things that work better than others. So I am currently using the gradient tool, and that goes right over top of the moon I just drew. So that affects our drawing in a different way, and I'm going through the different effects here in my modes to see if I can find one that'll work a little bit better with my drawing. I do this for a while, and it's good to try out different features to see, because we don't all have Photoshop figured out right now. And basically I've decided at this point I'm going to leave my drawing underneath and have it fade into a black and draw on top with a new layer. So the old moon that I drew is still underneath, it's just hidden, and I thought the fading to black was a nice way of showing the transition between reality and daydream. I just drew in a Big Dipper and a couple different star constellations, a shooting star, and that's all just using my paintbrush. My drawings are not awesome, and I will say that. And partially, I'm gonna have an excuse here, and I know it is a me problem, but I was using a trackpad and not a mouse. And if you ever experience that, it is much different and a lot more difficult to do. So keep that in mind, that I was doing this with speed in mind, knowing that you didn't want to watch a 20-minute video of me drawing in Photoshop. And also I didn't have a mouse to use, so that was kind of hard to follow. But I've drawn a little alien there and a shooting star, and that's just part of the doodling. So there's several different options you can use, and you'll see me here decide, I think I'm going to add a photo into this. So some of you might actually be into this more than possibly drawing. And that's okay. You just need to adapt your image in order to make it your own a little bit. So you can't just grab something straight from the internet and then stick it in your daydream and say, oh, done. You need to use maybe some of the effects that we've learned in Photoshop so far, like our photocopy tool, our texture tools, that kind of stuff, to adapt it, to make it something of your own, okay? You can also see right here that I'm using the quick selection tool to select the spaceman. So this is the Tesla spaceman, which if you're following it, they sent Tesla into space, and it is on its way to Mars, I believe. So I thought it was fitting to put the Tesla spaceman into my daydream, because that is something that I currently think about. And so I am using the selection tool to grab just the car. I want to take out the background because I already have my space background, and I want to take the background out, but I'm using my selection tool, and it wouldn't let me do my original inverse. And so what I'm doing is I'm making my eraser very large, with it being on just that layer, and erasing just that background. So because I had the car selected, it didn't erase the car. Now I'm thinking about position-wise. What's going to look best in my composition? How am I going to make this fit into what I've done? And you can also currently tell that obviously that's an image and that doesn't really go well with my drawing. So in here I've just gone into the filter gallery, which we've used our other tools in, and you can see I switched it to the photocopy tool, I believe, and made it into a line drawing just like what we had done in Photoshop. So you can do that as well as an example. Now I'm using the text tool to write you a little message. Ta-da! I dream of space. Bam. So it would be great for you to put a theme on your topic. And I'm just going to close this out. You will notice that my Photoshop is a little different than yours. It is the newer version, but you should be able to find everything that I've kind of used. And if you can't, you can obviously ask me or a friend.